It is a pleasure to welcome Central Information Commissioner retired Shri Shailesh Gandhi in this Prudent program of Gazali. Our guest Shailesh Gandhi was born on 7 July 1947, that is before independence of India. But he is one man who has taken the country far ahead of time. I will not be exaggerating if I say that when we think of a Gandhiji in context of the RTI movement, it is Shailesh Gandhi. Mr. Shailesh Gandhi, it has been a pleasure meeting you. We would love to know, what was your travel coming to the point of becoming an RTI activist? What made a Shailesh Gandhi?
Well, I did my engineering from IIT Bombay,
Yes.
and at that time I used to take part in a lot of debating and so on, and used to be critical about society in general. Then I went into business, started my own business, and was doing well. About 14-15 years back, at an alumni function, one of my professors was present, and he asked me about what I thought about society. He said, when you were here, you were critical. What do you think now? The first thought was about saying that things are bad. And then a thought flashed in my mind that when I used to say at the age of 20 that things are not right, it was implied that we can do better. When I was being asked this question, I was around 50. At 50, I was society. I did feel that society was a little worse, especially in terms of honesty and values, than what it was when I was 20. But the responsibility was also mine, because at 50, I am part of society. So I told him this, then some thinking started, and I decided I wanted to do something actively. So I decided to sell off my business. And when I sold off my business, I got introduced to Right to Information in 2003. That's how I got into Right to Information.
Sir, like we know you are into business, you are an IIT engineer, we know that you are into plastic bottles business. But then I guess all this RTI activism, it was bottled up within you. Like what was that immediate spark, that provocation? Which was your first RTI application?
Okay, there was a meeting at somebody's house in Mumbai where I stay.
Yes.
And we were discussing about what we could do for society and so on. And there was one gentleman, YP Singh, who was at that time getting out of IPS. And he said that a lot of corruption was there in the transfer of police officers. And that political interference was there. There was another gentleman, Mr. Keval Simlani, who is no more, who mentioned that at that time, Maharashtra state had just enacted a good RTI Act.
Okay.
I had not heard of Right to Information before that. So he explained very briefly in 2-3 minutes and told me I could buy a copy of the law and use RTI. Next day I actually bought a copy of the Act, read from that, and my first RTI application was addressed to the Public Information Officer, Police Commissioner of Mumbai, asking for names of political leaders who had recommended police transfers in the last 2 years. That became a big battle. But that showed me the power of Right to Information to empower an individual citizen to make an impact on the governance. That's how I really started off with Right to Information.
Sir, you achieved a lot getting information in diverse fields, various kinds of information. You must be sitting on a mine of information. But isn't it sometimes very frustrating that you get all that kind of information and I mean we get it through RTI, but we can't act upon it, nothing comes. What has been your experience? Does the information get followed up by some social action or many a time it gets lost?
Let me put it like this, not every RTI application converted into anything. For example, the police one that I mentioned, it did ultimately lead to 140 police officers being reprimanded. And for a while at least, political interference in police transfers did go down in Mumbai. Similarly, there are other RTI applications. For example, Chief Minister's Relief Fund of Maharashtra. I sought information. The first answer was that Chief Minister's Relief Fund of Maharashtra is a private trust, which was horrifying. Ultimately, when I got information, it showed that money was being given to build a gymkhana in the Raj Bhavan of Mumbai for ghazal programs, for kho-kho competitions. In fact, I discovered that 5 lakh rupees had been given to the Press Club of India in Delhi out of which 1.5 lakh rupees was for building toilets. So, okay, most people think of relief fund and relief in one context. Probably the Chief Minister's relief fund was thinking of relief of another kind by providing toilets to the Press Club of India. So, some of these things have impacted. In some, there has been no impact. It's a mix.
Sir, we remember you for your great Herculean efforts in that 1000 crore rupees scam for the Crawford market in Bombay. Will you enlighten us more on that for the Goan viewers?
This was Bombay Municipal Corporation had decided that they did not have enough money to make Crawford market better and to maintain it properly. So they said that the vendors who are actually hawkers, they only have hawking licenses, would redevelop the whole market. And how the redevelopment was to be done would be decided between a developer and the hawkers. And BMC would just get some free place there. I got this information, and then with the figures that were available from Right to Information, I calculated, assuming a certain construction cost and cost of the commercial place there. And the result was that whereas BMC would get free construction of some 50 or 100 crore rupees, the developer and the hawkers would get an extra profit of over 1000 crore rupees, which was ridiculous. The money, the place belonged to the city of Mumbai, the BMC. BMC means the poorest man or the poorest beggar who may be in Mumbai. And this being given away as a free gift. So therefore then we created some public opinion and citizens also protested about it. Net, that was about 7-8 years back. That has not been taken forward. So that's how I think we were able to save 1000 crores of.
So this saving 1000 crore, that's really a great service to India. Now, didn't people get threatened by you, or you didn't feel that need of the Whistleblowers Protection Act?
Okay, if you're saying whether anybody threatened me, the answer is no, nobody threatened me. That there were SRA scams, etc., after which also I had gone. The truth really is nobody's ever threatened me. I mean, people have said, how is it? But I have no explanation except to say that I must admit one thing which may have helped, that I have never thought in terms of who an exposure hurts, nor have I thought in terms of using it as a tool against anybody. I have looked at public interest, and if things are not in public interest, highlighting it, talking to media and so on, but never as pitting myself against somebody. I think that may have been part of the reason why nobody ever threatened me.
Sir, what according to you are the threats to RTI in India in today's context?
I think there are three major threats to RTI. Okay. The lowest threat is from government, which could amend the act and take certain actions to dilute the whole purpose. A slightly higher threat comes from the commissions, not giving proper decisions, not employing penalty clauses at all, which is what is happening in a lot of cases. Also by building pendencies and not delivering decisions on time. To my mind, commissions must make a public commitment that at least over 90% of the cases, they would settle in 3 months to 4 months. Otherwise,
Is it possible?
it is possible. I have made it happen. As a commissioner, during my entire period, most of the cases used to be delivered in less than 90 days. And I have also delivered over 20,400 decisions in a period of 3 years and 9 months. So I definitely believe it's possible. It's nothing impossible. There must be a will to do it. And if you don't do that, I think RTI becomes irrelevant. Because if you tell people that you will give information after 3 years and 4 years, it doesn't make sense. And the pressure on the system and all PIOs will disappear.
So one is, you said, a threat from a government. Second, because the system has to be a speedy disposal, otherwise it becomes useless. What the other two threats?
Yeah. So second was, I said from the information commissions there is a threat to RTI. The highest threat now is from the judicial system.
Okay.
The judiciary has given a judgment in Namit Sharma's case, which would require 2-person benches in all information commissions, which means the output of the commissions will be dropped by 50%. Yeah. It also talks of one judge, one of the members being a retired judge.
Yes.
As far as we've seen, retired judges have a habit of giving adjournments and getting in legal frameworks, which slows down the process considerably. Third thing we've noticed is wherever judges have been involved, lawyers have come in because of the method in which a judge decides. Today, over 90% of the matters before commissions are represented by citizens directly. At times, some people have said 99%, but certainly over 90%. Whereas, wherever judges are there, for example, let's say consumer commissions, over 75% of the matters have to be represented through lawyers. So, when you have to employ lawyers to represent yourself, the average man, the Aam Aadmi, or what we nowadays call mango people, will disappear from there. And if the normal man, the average common man disappears, I don't think RTI is justified any longer.
You have rendered, as a information commissioner, you have rendered number of judgments. In fact, yes, we do hear that your rate of disposal was the highest. Like when others were disposing maximum 2,000 a year, your average annual was 5,000. You even made a record break of 6,000 decision last year. Now, what was it? What is that secret? Your personal efficiency or some system that you followed or your commitment? What is it that was working for you and not working for others?
It's a combination of all of these in a way. First was a basic conviction and commitment that if you do not give decision in a particular period, you are irrelevant. I mean, then you are living for yourself. So this was the basic conviction.
But you did not feel that justice hurried was justice buried?
I would rather have buried justice than having no justice. I submit that delayed justice is no justice at all. Okay. And yet, people who have compared my decisions with those of others have not found anything to say that my decisions were any worse in quality than anybody else's. Whether they were better or not, there may be various discussions on.
Yes.
However, I also had built a system. As I said, first was that belief that this has to be done. And then once you have that belief, then you say, how do I find a way of doing it? One thing, of course, was that I used to work for about 40-45 hours a week, which I believe everyone should. And a lot of commissioners do not work for even 40 hours a week, which I believe is dishonesty. Secondly, I had a system of getting the background assessed by somebody and the background note being made out, which used to help me to give faster decisions. And every morning I'd go through this. Also, the idea was we'd give decisions instantly. Immediately during hearing, I would announce it. In most cases, 2 to 5% may have been given later, but most decisions were given on the spot. So these simple things, and digitizing my whole office. My whole office had no paper files in the last 2 years.
Okay.
We had digitized everything, everything was electronic. That itself also helped processing time and reduce the amount of time required to process a file. So it's a combination of, but started with saying, this has to be done, and then how do you do it? In fact, entire human endeavor, if you think of, is based on reducing times to do everything.
Yes.
But the Indian judicial and quasi-judicial system seems to be going in a completely contrary direction, at which point I would submit it becomes irrelevant to citizens.